What's up, everyone? John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo here. The March 14th unveiling date for the Samsung Galaxy S4 is rumor no more. Invitations have gone out to Samsung's Unpacked event. Of course, Techno Buffalo will be there, but as we get closer to the official date, I thought we'd run through everything you can expect from the Galaxy S4. Let's get started. So let's go ahead and start with what you're going to look at all the time, the display. Nearly every single report out there has pegged it at a 4.99-inch display with full 1080p action. So if you had a chance to take a look at the Droid DNA, you've been looking longingly at the HTC One, you are going to be all set. Samsung's really never disappointed in the display department, so we're expecting a top-notch screen on this phone. 1080p looks beyond awesome on a device. Certainly it's a battery hog, but hopefully Samsung's gonna have us covered with that. But expect a 1080p. So I just mentioned battery. One other thing you could expect to keep your phone juiced is wireless charging. We're expecting Samsung to provide support for wireless charging built right into the Galaxy S4. It's likely going to be based on the Qi technology, which is weirdly spelled QI. The same that's offered in the Nokia Lumia 920 and other handsets with wireless charging support, although it's not really confirmed at this point. The good news though, you'll be able to drop your smartphone right onto a pad and charge it and pick it up and carry it on with you. Also means you'll be able to pick up Qi standard chargers, so if you can pick one up for the Lumia 920 or the Nexus 4 for example, that'll work for you. Anything that's standardized, go ahead, throw it on and get your charge on. Alright, so it's going to give the Galaxy S4 its oomph, its speed, its overall smoothness, at least a quad-core processor, and I say at least for a reason. There have been varying reports on what processor Samsung's going to use in the Galaxy S4. We think it's certainly possible that a global version will launch with the company's 8-core Exynos Octa chip, which sounds cool to say. Although we wouldn't be surprised to see a quad-core Snapdragon version with LTE launch in the US, simply because US carriers tend to sway towards Qualcomm's chips in general. This still is one of the biggest mysteries, which really won't know until launch, but we're hoping to see an 8-core chip so we can see how Exynos Octa stacks up against the competition. Just being able to say 8 cores in a freaking phone is incredible. So probably again it'll be an international version. US should just come with a Snapdragon quad core, which should be plenty snappy. Alright, let's talk about carrier-wide availability. This is obviously really important to note. Samsung's been really successful in getting its handsets on a large number of carriers. It launched the Galaxy S2 on Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, and T-Mobile, then followed suit with the Galaxy S3 on all the same carriers. So it's no surprise the phone sells well because you can get it pretty much everywhere. We think the same is going to be true for the Galaxy S4, so no matter what carrier you're on, if you're used in the US, you should be all set. Now for the bad news. No S Pen. The first rumors we heard about the Galaxy S4 suggested Samsung was going to include S Pen in its upcoming device. However, during briefings with Samsung over the past week, we've learned the company wants to separate its Note products from other devices in its lineup. As such, we think the Galaxy S4 is going to launch without S Pen support, and Samsung will continue to use that utensil in its Note branded products only. It sounds like a fork. In other words, we'll likely only see it on the next Note phone, the Galaxy Note 3, which we should see at IFA towards the end of 2013. So HTC said they don't want to get involved in a megapixel war. Samsung is the one that's starting the megapixel war, and they are up in the battle with a 13 megapixel camera. Samsung will likely bump its camera to a 13 megapixel sensor in the Galaxy S4. It's totally a different path than what competitors such as HTC obviously have taken with their ultra pixel camera. So it's really interesting to see the total differences between the two companies. One, because it thinks the quality of the sensor is more important than the actual measure of the megapixels itself, and the other, megapixels more important. Samsung cameras have always been pretty decent. They're not the best, but they're beyond not being the worst. So they've always sort of fell on the high side of middle. So we'll see if the Galaxy S4 keeps that or really it steps up Samsung's camera game. Alright, what about the OS? Obviously it's going to be Jelly Bean. I think it's going to be Android Jelly Bean, upgradable though to Key Lime Pie. It's pretty obvious though at this point that any new handset will launch with Jelly Bean. I don't think Samsung is going to do anything fancy and be the unveiled device for Key Lime Pie. That's going to go to a Nexus phone. Company also has been pretty great at upgrading older devices to newer versions of Android, so we can expect that with the Galaxy S4, and it should offer Google's new Android Key Lime Pie operating system at some point in the future. They've been pretty good about giving updates, but not always the quickest about it, so don't keep your fingers crossed hoping to get it a few weeks after launch. So for RAM and storage, I'm expecting 2 gigs of RAM and 2 different models, a 16 to 32 gig, perhaps even a third, a 64 option there as well, with expandable storage. I think Samsung's going to probably stick though primarily with the 16 and 32 gigs of internal storage, although I wouldn't be surprised again, it's a 64 gigabyte model. Samsung fans love the ability to remove the battery, add additional storage with micro SD card slot, so I imagine the company won't move too far away from these options. Also, I think we'll see a pretty standard now 2 gigs of RAM, since that's become sort of just the norm on most high-end Android phones. So we've run through all the specs, but there's still a big question: what's this sucker gonna look like? We have a general idea of what it's gonna look like thanks to leaked case designs, but we're still not entirely sure what the phone's going to look like officially or what's going to be made out of. I'm going to wager a guess though that Samsung is going to stick with their "if ain't broke, don't fix it" model and use plastic, since all of its products currently employ that material. Well, obviously we'd love to see it venture out of the polycarbonate plastic world and use something like aluminum or aluminium, depending on where you are, as Nokia and HTC have done. History does repeat itself though. As much as we love to design a Galaxy Note and the Galaxy S3, I don't think we're going to be disappointed at all. Those are pretty good looking phones. So what's the wrap up here? There are a few wildcards that Samsung likely have up its sleeve. I'm betting we'll see an update to TouchWiz and new capabilities for sharing, much like we saw with the Galaxy S3. We've been told that Samsung would like to see tighter integration between phones and tablets, especially through NFC, so hopefully we'll see some sort of support on that front. Software services are becoming increasingly important in the mobile space, and I know that Samsung is well aware of that, so we should see some new updates to TouchWiz, perhaps less cartoony and resource heavy, and make TouchWiz sort of the go-to skin for Android devices. So what are you guys most excited about for the Galaxy S4? What do you want to see? What are you not excited about? Is this the phone you've been waiting 2 years to get? I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of it. Leave your comments down below. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. It really helps us out. Check us out at technobuffalo.com for latest and greatest tech news. I'm John Rettinger, and I'll see you in the next video.